The EU recognizes the pivotal role of digital connectivity for achieving the goals of 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, setting it as a top priority for the EU's international partnership in general and within Africa in particular, digital, energy and transport sectors, and to strengthen health, education, research systems across the world. This is reflected in the Global Gateway Strategy, enhancing connectivity investments, services around the world in line with the EU's principle for trusted connectivity, such as a level playing field, transparency, and sustainability. The EU is currently stepping up its offer to its partners with major investments in infrastructure development around the world. Between 2021 and 2027, Team Europe, meaning the EU institutions and the EU member states, jointly will mobilize up to 300 billion euros of investments. Now, the principles of this strategy, as you see here, the Global Gateway Strategy investments will be based on 7 principles, which are democratic values and high standards. The Global Gateway is a value-based model. This means investments in line with the rule of law, human rights, international norms. 2, good governance and transparency. Global Gateway delivers transparency and sustainability of projects. We deliver what we promise. Number 3, equal partnerships. Global Gateway projects will be developed with partners, including the ministry here. They will meet the needs and opportunities as well as EU strategic interests. Green and clean. Global Gateway is our strategy to support our partners in speeding up their green transition and move to a circular economy. Security focused. Global Gateway projects will be safe, resilient to nature or man-made disasters, cyber and hybrid threats. And lastly, it will catalyze the private sector. We see a lot of representation here today. The Global Gateway will attract investments involving Europe's leading industry, private sector knowledge, and investment capacity. So now in terms of our priorities, the Global Gateway will deliver sustainable and high-quality projects, taking into account the needs of the partner countries and ensuring lasting benefits for local communities. This will allow the EU and African partners to collaborate on developing sectorial priorities whilst ensuring the highest level of standards and sound financial management. Our investment priorities, as you can see on the screen, include digital. The EU will support open and secure internet. We'll provide more details in the following slides, and this particularly. Climate and energy. The EU will support investments and rules paving the way to clean energy transition. Transport, supporting all modes of green, smart and safe transport. Health, strengthening supply chains and local vaccine production. Education and research, in high quality education with a special focus on girls, women and vulnerable groups. Yes, this slide here. Okay. So on the digital Global Gateway Strategy, the digital pillar will support partner countries on tackling the digital divide, as well as promising strategic EU interests by strengthening secure connections between Europe and the rest of the world. The Global Gateway thus positions the EU in this increasingly geopolitical space of digital economy connectivity. Following the EU and AU summit held in February 2022, the announced digital transition flagship of the EU-Africa Global Gateway Investment Package underlines the importance of building regional fiber optic backbones across Africa. Now, the objectives in digital within this strategic framework, the EU aims at becoming the center of new digital networks that connect the unconnected, spanning to Europe's neighborhoods, Africa, Latin America, Asia, and the Pacific. The EU will boost internet access for marginalized countries and regions affected by the global digital divide. The EU also seeks to take a leading role in the international scene in promoting human-centric digital connectivity. This objective is thus to create a highly visible approach on digital connectivity through the points you see here, promoting a human-centric digital transition, safeguarding Europe's digital sovereignty, tackling the global digital divide, fostering an open, secure and free internet, promoting EU services and assets across the globe, and finally fostering cooperation on research and digital innovation. Now, when we discuss our digital economy packages, we have to look at sub-Saharan Africa as a continent. It is the most affected by the global digital divide and hence risks being left behind in the global digital economy. African international bandwidth has significantly increased in the past several years, thanks to new submarine cables, sub-cable upgrades, and terrestrial network development. Within this framework, the EU offers digital economic packages in the following areas: in international connectivity, Europe to other continents. This includes submarine cables, satellite connectivity, replacing the old with the new submarine cables to serve demand with capacity, diversifying international links to decrease dependencies on specific infrastructures, increasing overall resilience of connections. Secondly, regional connectivity, tackling the digital divide and fostering traffic volumes among EU partner countries and regions. This includes supporting the development of regional terrestrial backbones and the connection of missing links between the countries. Third, data centers and open internet, ensuring secure and inclusive internet connectivity. This includes data storage and processing in line with the EU values and standards, investing in data infrastructure and deploying international standards. Digital national connectivity, serving the underserved, de-risking high-risk investments or providing incentives for last-mile solutions. This level entails both terrestrial backbone infrastructures and internet connectivity and last-mile connectivity for individuals, public institutions, businesses, etc. Lastly, the secure and trusted connectivity. This involves hardware and software, policies and regulations in line with the EU and international values and standards. Nonetheless, the African connectivity market is still maturing. From a pricing perspective, wholesale capacity connected to Africa remains expensive, as we've already discussed during this conference. Yet the arrival of cloud service provider data centers, content provider submarine cable investments, and the rollout of 5G are the leaders of this change. In terms of digital connectivity and infrastructure, East Africa, as we know, has limited availability and reach of basic infrastructure. So promoting connectivity is key, one, to facilitate inter-African commerce, enhance Africa-Europe trade, and three, improving sustainable, efficient, and safe connectivity. Digital connectivity will also improve value chains within Africa, which will have a beneficial spillover effect on industries in both Africa and Europe. More importantly, these attainable achievements will have a sustainable social impact on increasing jobs and reducing poverty. The EU Commission currently has an ongoing technical analysis in East Africa, and this study is to assess and identify potential EU-funded African digital infrastructure projects. Consultations with the public sector, financial institutions, private sector entities are ongoing to understand their role of promoters, investors, and users of this infrastructure. This will identify the interests and the plans of the governments in the African regions whilst addressing digital connectivity infrastructure deployment. We invite all of you here to reach out to us and join us in this journey of scaling up digital connectivity in Africa. Our digital connectivity packages, once we have completed this regional technical analysis, the EU Commission will then identify avenues for improvement on regional networks, including missing links, underserved regions, while ensuring interconnectivity between the specific regions, aiming at identifying regional backbones spanning all countries. Additionally, we'll identify potential regional terrestrial fiber backbones, an overview mapping of regional data infrastructure, including an overview of an existing and planned regional data centers, IXP points, need gaps analysis, and recommendations will be provided. They can include, as you see here on the screen, Euro-Africa Gateway, a set of international submarine cables along Africa's Atlantic Ocean coast, concerning the entire west and central coast, and potentially Europe and African connections toward the Indo-Pacific is being explored. The submarine cable system will strengthen the connection between Europe and Africa, while providing increased connectivity to underserved coastal countries. Secondly, another option could be building secure regional fiber optic backbones, a network of fiber optic cables to improve regional digital infrastructures. And lastly, satellite-based secure connectivity, an EU-led initiative that will provide satellite connectivity to rural, underserved regions. An example of what this looks like in practice is a success story in our program called BELA, which stands for Building the Europe Link with Latin America. This project's success lies in the construction of a direct subsea transatlantic cable connection between Europe and Latin America. The ELA Link cable allows for the very first time high-speed and secure connectivity between the EU and Latin America and the Caribbean countries. The European Investment Bank has supported the ELA Link connection to Cabo Verde through a 20 million loan to national telecom operators. ELA Link became operational this year in June 2022. We hope to see a similar success story here within the region and specifically here in Tanzania. Now, in my final slide, I want to take note of our D4T program. It's an EU-funded program here in Tanzania. The EU is in consultation with the Tanzanian Ministry of ICT and related authorities, such as the E-Government Authority, TCRA, ICT Commission, UCSAF, and the rest, to champion Digital for Tanzania action, which promotes primarily digital connectivity, e-governance, and connectivity. It also has cross-cutting relevance for all sectors benefiting from better governance and improved e-services. This action will focus on accelerating Tanzania's digital transformation to bridge the socioeconomic divide and provide more opportunities to women, youth, and the population at large. In particular, it will deliver on the following key domains and objectives you see on the screen. 1, digital government, improving the digital economy and the use of e-government and e-services. 2, inclusive digital connectivity, supporting connectivity investments as an enabler for a conducive environment for public and private actors, and more generally for citizens, to operate and address the gender and geographic divide. And 3rd, digital trade support, developing the fintech sector, innovation ecosystems in the country and in the region, and ensuring women and youth access to job opportunities. Now, in terms of inclusive connectivity, what did the outputs look like specifically? We have a budget allocation and financing for broadband expansion or fiber optic deployment of broadband backbone and connection to public offices, schools, and health facilities, trainings to improve e-skills, including data protection and cybersecurity, in particular in rural areas for women and youth, and supporting human capital program for decent jobs in the sector, including adequate training for technicians and attention to the working conditions in the companies emerging in this platform. So finally, when we look at this, the Tanzanian digital policy, strategies, and regulations are consistent with the EU's vision and represent a fundamental step towards comprehensive and human-centric modernization. The EU will not only offer consensual financial conditions for partners, but also promote the highest standards in environmental protection, social affairs, strategic management, and the EU provide technical assistance to our partners to ensure the capacity in preparing credible infrastructure projects that ensure value for money. I would like to say thank you for your time, and we look forward to working closely with all of you to further integrate Tanzania and the region into the global digital economy. Asanteni sana.
Thank you so much, Jose Luis. A big round of applause, please, for Jose Luis Gonzalez, Project Officer from the EU for East Africa Digital Connectivity. You'll be around, I guess, over lunchtime? Yeah, so he'll be around over lunchtime. We break for lunch now till 2:30, a good hour and 15 minutes for lunch. Thank you all so much for joining us, and please do come back for the last quarter of our program. Thank you all so much. Enjoy your lunch, and once again, the Twitter hashtag is #C2C Summit 2022.